Hey everybody, welcome back to the Purple A Society YouTube channel, my little mini university for helping us to transition into more fourth dimensional thinking. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got great videos on there. Also have playlists on everything from music to help you raise your vibrations or help you, kind of work through some things you're dealing with, on spiritual lectures, audio books, all kinds of stuff to help us to not only transition into more fourth dimensional thinking for our spiritual development, but also just to help us to process life down here in a third dimensional physical reality. Make sure to stay till the end. I have some information on my $7 a month mystery school that takes place over on Substack. I'll be glad to tell you about that more. And we continue on with episode 8 of Real Talk with AI as we go into the concept and the idea of fear, what fear really is and how we can work through fear. So I asked Chat GPT, I said, let's talk the science of fear and how to overcome it. And Chat GPT says, all right, let's ground this in something real, usable, and powerful. Fear isn't random. It's a biological system designed to keep you alive. But in modern life, it often fires at the wrong time. The science of fear, what's actually happening in your body. The trigger, amygdala activation, number 1. Your brain has a structure called the amygdala. When it senses danger, real or perceived, it skips logical thinking, sends an immediate distress signal, and activates survival mode. This happens in milliseconds, faster than conscious thought. Number 2, fight, flight, freeze. Your body releases adrenaline and cortisol, and this creates faster heart rate, shallow breathing, muscle tension, and tunnel vision. Your body is preparing to fight, run, or freeze. The problem? Your brain treats sending a YouTube video, making a decision, or being seen as if it's a life or death threat. It just used me as an example because I'm the one that's asking the question. Number 3, the logic center goes offline. The prefrontal cortex, the decision-making, planning, and focusing aspect of the brain gets suppressed. That's why you overthink but can't act. You feel stuck. You want to avoid things you actually want. And why fear repeats the loop. Fear becomes a cycle. Number 1, you feel fear. Number 2, you avoid the action. And number 3, your brain goes, avoidance equals safety. Fear gets stronger next time. This is called reinforcement learning. The brain isn't trying to ruin your life, it's trying to protect you efficiently. How to overcome fear, scientifically plus practically. Let's not do vague advice. Here's what actually works. Number 1, regulate the body first, not the mind. You can't think your way out of fear while your nervous system is activated. Do this instead. Slow inhale for 4 seconds and longer exhale for 6 to 8 seconds. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, or the calm mode. Long exhales literally tell your brain we're safe. Number 2, shrink the threat with micro steps. Your brain fears unknowns, not small actions. Instead of start a YouTube channel, for instance, myself again, make it open notes app, write one idea, record 10 seconds. This bypasses amygdala overload. Number 3, rewire through action, not affirmations. Confidence is not built by thinking, it's built by evidence. Each time you act, the brain updates its prediction and fear responses weaken. This is called exposure plus neuroplasticity. Number 4, name the fear. This is powerful. When you label fear, you activate higher brain regions. Say, this is fear of being judged, or this is fear of failing. This reduces amygdala activity. Literally name it to tame it. Number 5, separate feelings versus reality. Your body may feel this is dangerous, but ask, is this actually life-threatening? Most modern fears are social, emotional, identity-based, not survival-based. The deeper truth. Fear shows up strongest when you're expanding, you're being seen, and you're stepping into alignment. So the presence of fear is not a stop sign. It often signals growth. A simple system you can use daily. When fear hits, number 1, pause. Don't react immediately. Number 2, breathe. Long exhale. Number 3, name it. This is fear of blank. Number 4, shrink it. What's the smallest next step? Number 5, move away. Even 1% action. The real mastery is not being fearless, but becoming fear literate. So the next question I asked was, what do some of the ancient esoteric texts say about fear? This is where things get really interesting, because ancient esoteric systems didn't just see fear as an emotion. They saw it as a force, a gatekeeper, and sometimes even a distortion of perception. Let's walk through a few major traditions and decode what they were really saying. Fear in ancient esoteric texts. The Hermetic teachings, which were the Egypto-Greek mystery schools. Texts like the Corpus Hermeticum teach that fear comes from identifying with the body and illusion instead of the divine mind. The core idea is reality is mental, the all is mine. Fear arises when consciousness believes it is limited, separate, or vulnerable. So in Hermeticism, fear equals misidentification. Courage equals remembering your divine origin. Translation in modern times. Your nervous system reacts, but your awareness doesn't have to collapse into it. Number 2, the Kabbalion Hermetic principle simplified. In the Kabbalion, fear is tied to the principle of polarity. Fear and courage are the same energy on a spectrum. You don't destroy fear, you transmute it. They would say, shift your vibration gradually from fear to neutrality to courage. Not fake positivity, but alchemical movement. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Bardo teachings. The Bardo Thodol gives one of the most powerful teachings on fear. During the afterlife states, or bardos, beings encounter peaceful visions, then terrible monstrous forms. But the text repeats, do not be afraid. These are projections of your own mind. This is huge. Fear here is a reaction to your own conscious appearing unfamiliar. A test. Will you recognize yourself or run for yourself? Upanishads, ancient Indian mysticism. In texts like the Brihar Dharanyaka Upanishad, where there is duality, there one sees another and there is fear. Meaning, fear exists when you perceive separation. When everything is experienced as one, fear dissolves. So, fear equals perception of otherness, and liberation equals unity consciousness. The Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. In Kabbalistic teachings like the Zohar, fear is split into 2 types. Number 1, fallen fear, which creates anxiety, doubt, and paralysis. And number 2, sacred fear or awe, which creates reverence of the divine. The goal is not to eliminate fear, but to define it into awe. Same energy, different direction. The Stoic philosophy, which is esoteric adjacent wisdom. Think Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. They taught men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. Fear comes from interpretation, not reality. The solution? Train perception, accept what you cannot control, and act anyway. The pattern across all traditions. Even though these systems are from different parts of the world, they all agree on something wild. Fear is not the ultimate truth. It's a distortion, misperception, or threshold. They frame fear as a veil from Hermeticism, a projection from the Tibetan texts, and a result of separation, which is the Upanishads, a raw energy to refine, which is the Kabbalah, and a misinterpretation, which is the Stoics. The hidden initiation code. Here's the part most people miss. In esoteric traditions, fear often appears right before transformation. Before enlightenment, there are fear visions. Before, I don't know how to pronounce that because this looks like old Greek or Greek letters. I guess it's supposed to be before alchemical change. There's chaos, and before truth, there's disorientation. Fear is not just an obstacle. It's a threshold, guardian. Bringing this back to us, when we feel fear, instead of asking, how do I get rid of this? Try asking, what am I being initiated into right now? Because across these traditions, fear often means you're seeing beyond your current identity. You're approaching expansion, and you're being asked to recognize yourself at a higher level. And that's it. I wanted to say something about this. Going back up, one of the things that they talked about is how to take like a step ladder approach to dealing with fear. That's the same thing Abraham Hicks talks about when Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks. I'm not going to go into describing who Abraham is. That's a long story, but they describe going into like giving a certain emotion that you're having. Sometimes it's too far of a jump. It's an unrealistic emotional jump to go from like depression and despair to immediate happiness or joy. So the way that they explain to do it is to take the next best emotion right above where you are. Just right above where you are. If you're feeling despair, maybe the next feeling up is fear. Maybe the next feeling up from fear is anger. Maybe the next feeling up from anger is who knows, but it's taking the next closest, most reasonable and realistic feeling that you can catch on to and pull yourself up from that way, versus trying to just ignore fear or fight fear, because that's not how it works, because it's dealt with in the body. Also, another thing, there's a great book that my inner four mystery school, we read, wasn't last year, it was the year before last. It was called, I'm trying to see if I can see it on my bookshelf, called The Power of Focusing. And in that book, I don't see it based on where I'm sitting. On that book, it talks about dealing with fear or dealing with any kind of negative emotion by identifying where we feel that feeling in the body and just sitting with that feeling, not trying to fight against it, but accepting that we feel this feeling, being okay sitting in this feeling, identifying and recognizing that that feeling is not who we are. It's just something that we're feeling, and then naming what the feeling is. Trying to figure out, okay, what does this feeling, what really is this? And in that process, you find that the feeling sort of begins to dissipate on its own, because we weren't fighting against it. We were working through it. The other thing that I wanted to say, final thing I wanted to say about this, is that these holy texts, I've actually begun creating a YouTube playlist. I actually began creating this playlist about 2 days ago. So there's a playlist that's going to be coming out very soon with the Upanishads, the Rig Vedas, the Kabbalion, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. All of these ancient holy texts are going to be in this playlist, so that if you wanted to listen to them, the audio books of them, it's going to be about sacred text. You'll be able to access that through the Purple A Society YouTube channel as well. So that will be there. And again, I said I would tell you about my $7 a month mystery school. It's over there on Substack. And every week you get an audio where we go through breaking down the symbols found in the tarot, the ancient spiritual systems, world religion, mythology, the entertainment world, how those symbols show up in entertainment, how they show up in politics, how they show up in social issues, and also how to work our way through the human journey, looking at the fool's journey or the hero's journey through these symbols, and how we can apply them to improving on our journey down here in the third dimensional by incorporating more fourth dimensional thinking. So if you're interested in that, we've got a book club associated with it also, and we'll be beginning the second chapter of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, because we believe in personal development, but from a spiritual perspective. And so if you're interested, click the description box or go to the description box, click the link in the description box and check that out. You can listen to the first or one of those episodes for free. Whichever one you want to listen to, you can listen to it free, and then make the decision if you want to join us over there at the Inner Fort Mystery School. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening and following along. Share this video with a friend or two who you think could really, really find value in this. And I'll see you guys later. I don't know what we'll be talking about in this series on Real Talk with AI, but it'll be something good. All right. Bye-bye.